gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 227 of the podcast. And before I start my show off, I would like to ask every single one of you, how are you doing? I'm hoping that everyone had a lovely to great week. I'm hoping that you guys were able to handle what you needed to handle, because this was the official first week of May. You know what happens the first week. You guys got bills. We got to pay bills off. And also you guys got to be careful on these roads because state troopers and officers are around here. And I hope that no one got a ticket. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that the rest of your month of May will be peaceful and bring you solace. I do want to say this, as I've said this in past episodes. I'm hoping that you guys were able to take care of what you need to take care of. If you didn't, have no fear. You have another week to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Please do not stress out over things that are out of your control, because stress is a silent killer and it kills more people than I think a lot of people know. Stress is one of those things that can really put you down. If you're already sick and you start stressing out over things, guess what? You're putting yourself in a hole faster. If you're stressing out and you are on a diet, guess what? You're going to break out of that diet and start eating fast food because you're stressing. And guess what? All the stuff that you were losing, the weight and the milestones that you were achieving, will go to waste because you're stressing out over things you have no control over. And if you're just healthy and you're stressing out, guess what? You could start developing some symptoms and you start becoming sick. So again, I don't want people to stress out over things that you have no control over. Only focus on things you can control, please, because I don't want people to end up in a bad situation. Please take care of things you can control and do it so in a way that if you didn't handle it this week, guess what? You have another week to do it. Don't stress out over it so much, because guess what? Life is going to continue to happen whether you're here or not. So please don't stress out so much, okay? So with that being said, I want to start off with today. Today's National Food Days of the Week is nothing. Surprisingly, nothing, which is crazy to me because today's Mother's Day and you would think they would have something set up for that, but no. The calendar has nothing for Mother's Day, which is nuts. But they do have something for May 12th, which is Nutty Fudge Day. May 13th is Hummus Day, as well as Fruit Cocktail Day. So please be responsible in that, as well as Apple Pie Day. Wednesday, March 14th will be Buttermilk Biscuit Day. May 15th will be Chocolate Chip Day. May 16th will be Barbecue Day. And to round us out, May 17th will be Walnut Day, as well as Cherry Cobbler Day. So that's your National Food Days of the week. And again, today is Mother's Day. I do want to say a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And I want to say this to any sibling or anyone that has been taken in by a family that now calls you theirs. If you have that relationship with the woman that raised you or your mother, I would say if you have no money, I would say just be around her, because I guarantee you she's going to cherish the times that you are around her, and just spend time and quality with her today on Mother's Day. If you're able to buy her a gift that is meaningful. If you don't have money and you're going to spend time with her, I would say write up a card or write up a poem and give it to her. Write out stuff that's meaningful to her, because best believe they cherish those type of things. But again, just spend time. I think that's the big takeaway today for I want people to do with Mother's Day being today. spend time with your mother or the woman that did end up raising you as a mom, because they cherish those type of things. And my mother knows that. I do love her. She knows that. But I'm going to say it here. Mom, I love you. And you know that I care about you a lot. So please, don't try to scold me so much, when you do hear this episode, because I don't think I'm going to say anything that's going to make you scold me. But if I do, don't try to scold me so much. All right. But, again, happy Mother's Day to everybody that has a mom out there, or the woman that did end up raising you. So I do want to start that off first and foremost. Again, today being Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to everyone that has a mom or a woman that raised you. With that said, I hate to do this, but I gotta go into the episode and I gotta talk about some condolences. I gotta talk about two condolences. One is from a 16-year-old that happened to pass away this week. Yahoo News would write up about this. It was an Ohio high school lacrosse player dies from injury suffering during varsity game. They were right. A high school lacrosse player from Cleveland area died Thursday morning after suffering an in-game injury earlier this week, according to USA Today. 16-year-old sophomore of Bay Village High School was injured during a game on May 6. Witnesses told WKYC that the player attempted a shot when the ball struck the 16-year-old in the back of the head below his helmet as he tried to block it. The Bay Village superintendent later shared that the student athlete was in critical condition after undergoing surgery. Then the school shared the news of the 16-year-old's passing the following day. The statement would read, "With heavy hearts, the Vasilek family shares the news that Dylan has passed away from injuries suffered during a lacrosse game. We are deeply touched by the overwhelming support and kindness shown by our community and beyond. We ask that you continue to keep us in your thoughts and prayers during this difficult time." So the 16-year-old boy's name was Dylan Vasilek. I find that heartbreaking because, one, we're towards the end of the year already for people in public school system, private schooling, even if you're in college. It's literally the end of the year. And it's sad that someone passed away during an athletic event that they were taking a part of. And that's nuts. But again, you have to be careful. Freak accidents do happen. A ball hitting him literally below his helmet in a lacrosse game, that's nuts to think about, because you don't really think of lacrosse being like this dangerous-esque sport. I mean, people playing lacrosse probably might be thinking otherwise, but just an outsider's perspective, you don't hear much about lacrosse players passing away. But this one hit my timeline, and I do want to, again, say thoughts and prayers to the family of Dylan Vasilek. And again, thoughts and prayers to everyone that knew him and to the family involved. Another condolence I do have to give is to a stagehand that worked on the TNT show Inside the NBA. The man's name was Kevin Thomas. He worked there for 30 years. They would honor him this week. You had Ernie, you had Shaquille, you had Kenny, you had Charles Barkley, and they were backed by the show's crew on Thursday, and they would tell everyone about the passing of Kevin Thomas, and they would even show him being a part of some of the skits that the guys did on the Inside the NBA. They would say, "You're looking at our Inside the NBA crew is as close as you could possibly get to a family in the workplace, and our family is hurting tonight because we lost a brother of ours this week." Kevin Thomas, who was one of the stagehands in Studio J, been here for 30 years, and he was one great teammate. You may not have known him, but you've seen him. He was part of a lot of the skits we cooked up. The dude had a joyous sense of humor and a kindness about him that simply drew you in. Whenever we needed something, you know what that's calling for, Kevin. So again, a stagehand is a guy that runs to the stage or gives people what they need so they can perform on the stage, all that type of stuff. That's what a basic stagehand. And for someone to have worked somewhere for 30 years in the show business, I think that's commendable. For him to be 30 years at that job and just pass away, and them to give him that moment of acknowledgement on a television show, that's I say pretty special. And see the guys, Ernie, kind of being taken back by this. Shaq talking about how he heard the news, and he was even taken aback by this. Charles Barkley reminding everyone about death and how crazy it is. How one day you'll literally be there with that person, and the next day, if you get a phone call, they're no longer here, and you just gotta deal with that. You gotta kind of go about your day the best way that you can, and go about your life the best way that you can. And again, that tells you right here, never ever take life for granted, and never ever take people for granted. If you are next to someone that you love, or you can call up someone that you love that you might have spoken to in some time, call them up, check in on them, because you don't know what could ever happen. Again, they could be here one moment and gone the next. So this is my PSA to anyone out there. If you have a loved one that you haven't spoke to in some time, if you're haven't been on a good siding with them, I would say call them up, only if you know what you're dealing with when you call them back. Because certain people, you know why you haven't spoke to them, and it's cool. Just say thoughts and prayers and wish them all well in your prayers. But if you miss that relationship that you had with someone, and you know what comes with them, and you actually can deal with them, I would say give them a call and just make sure everything's good, and try to see what you guys can touch up on. Because again, there's a lot of things that is going down in this world, and I just don't want people to have that feeling of loss, even though they're going to have that feeling of loss, but like great loss, that, oh man, this person passed, and we could have chopped it up, we could have patched up things, and you missed out on that opportunity. So again, don't take life for granted. Don't take every moment of every day for granted. Again, just be thankful that you're here, and try to speak to the people that you love, and try to hold on to the people that you love as much as you can, because you don't know when they're going to be off this planet. So again, rest in peace to Kevin Thomas, and condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones that knew Mr. Thomas as well. Now, with that stated, I want to get off the condolences here. I don't know what's going down between India and Pakistan. I know there's been some type of attacks going on this week. I'm going to try to step out of that. I don't know too much. I'm not going to say too much about it. I just want to let everyone know that there's something going down with India and Pakistan. Please, if you're in that area, please try to be careful. Please be as safe as you can over there. I am giving you my love, thoughts, and prayers over there. And I will try to educate myself on this, and hopefully give my opinion on it if it is warranted. But right now, since I have no idea about this, I'm just going to just let everyone know, if you're in that area, please be careful. Please try to be as safe as you can. And I do hope that whatever is going down between India and Pakistan, all that, can come to a resolve before people really start losing their lives the way that Russia and Ukraine are having their situation over there. So again, I'm going to try to educate myself on that. And if it's warranted, I'll give my thoughts and opinion on it. And if it's not, I'm just going to let you know, I'm just going to try to educate myself. That's all I can basically throw out here with that. Now, moving off of that, now let's get on to, I will say, like, the biggest news story that happened this week. And it happened late in the week. Well, technically, the voting for it started, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday, one or two, but I digress. We have a new pope, or not say we, but the world has a new pope. The man's name is Robert Provost, but he now will be going as Pope Leo the 14th. He made history of being the first American pope. He's come from Chicago. People are excited about this. I mean, he is now the Pope of, I want to say he is now the guy that's leading 1.4 billion in this religion, of the Catholic religion. Yeah, 1.4 billion members. That's a lot of people that he's like ahead of and like on top of. But yeah, he's the new guy now. That's nuts. It took them 2 days to come up who's going to be the new pope, and how they did it was, again, I had to look into this. They say right here, the cardinals vote by secret ballot, processing one by one up to Michelangelo's fresco of the Last Judgment, saying a prayer and dropping the two-folded ballot into a large chalice. 4 rounds of balloting are taken each day until a candidate receives 2/3 of the vote. The result of each ballot are counted, allowed, and recorded by 3 cardinals designed as recorders. If no one receives the necessary 2/3 of the vote, the ballots are burned into a stove near the chapel with a mixture of chemicals to produce white smoke. When a cardinal receives the necessary 2/3 vote, the dean of the College of Cardinals asks him if he accepts his election. If he accepts, he chooses a papal name and is dressed in a papal vestments before processing out to the balcony of St. Peter's, which we all saw. And that's when we see the white smoke to signal to the world that we got a new pope, in which we all did get to see. I believe it was Thursday. So yeah, we have a new pope. He's an American pope. First time we have an American pope. First thing I do want to say is I find it weird, at least for me. And again, this is just an outsider. I don't mean to say weird as in a bad negative connotation. I'm just an outsider that doesn't know the things about being a pope, selecting a new name. That's my thing. I would think he would have went by Pope Rob or something like that, or Pope Robert, something like that. But since he changed his name to now being Pope Leo the 14th, that has me scratching my head. How does he choose that, or why did he choose that? Again, there's probably some historical significance to it, but for me, I think it would just been easy for him to be Pope Robert. But again, not my business, not my ministry, not my thing for that. So I'm not truly getting at the Pope for that. I'm just hoping in the end, I hope that this Pope is kind of in line with the previous Pope, Pope Francis. Again, they say Pope Francis was one of the best popes that has been a pope. Again, he wasn't too much into the whole, nasty business of hiding things with the whole child molestation and all that goes down in the Catholic Church, or at least did go down in the past. He kind of rebuked all that and apologized for the past people that did do all those type of things. I'm hoping that this Pope follows suit and follows the blueprint that the previous Pope did put down a line and does continue on with that. But again, yeah, man, the Catholic Church has a new Pope. Everybody was talking about that. I mean, when the white smoke happened, I mean, it interrupted everything that was going down on the big news stations from your ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. I mean, that was the talk when the white smoke came about, and we were all trying to see, okay, who's this new Pope? Who is the guy? Who is this? Who is that? First and foremost, I knew it was not going to be no black Pope. No disrespect to any of the cardinals that are black that had the opportunity to be in the voting selection to be the new Pope. I knew off top it wasn't going to be that way because I don't think they're ready for a black Pope. There probably was a black Pope in the past. Again, I have no prior knowledge of this. I did not do no research. But in modern times, as of right now, I do not see no Pope being black. I don't. I think that's just certain things that they're going to keep in a certain box until someone or somebody ends up making a great deal with all the other cardinals for them to be Pope. And also, I want to know what type of deal did this new Pope make with all the other cardinals? Because again, for you to get 2/3 of the vote, that's a big number. They say there was 133 cardinals that had to vote on this thing, which made this the most electors to date to decide who's going to be the Pope. So just off a quick math, that's about 88 to 89 votes, or 88 to 89 people that have to vote for you to be the new Pope. So I wonder, what did Pope Leo over here talk to all the cardinals and get them to say, hey, this is the guy that we want to be the next Pope? Again, I'm just wondering about what type of deals were made. Who knows? We'll probably see as things go down the line, because right now they're doing a whole deep dive into this new Pope. I mean, you get documentaries, you're getting television specials. People are really going deep into this Pope, and I think it's because he's the first American Pope to be the Pope. And again, congratulations to him. I'm hoping that he, again, just follows the blueprint of Pope Francis. I'm hoping that he is still a good guy. That's what I am hoping for, just all in all, for the Catholic community. And again, congratulations to Pope Leo the 14th. And again, he has been chosen to now lead the Catholic Church. And yeah, that's about it. I know they did kind of say that he is a guy that kind of, I'm not gonna say is standoffish from Donald Trump, but they did try to say that he was not he wasn't in favor of Trump. So I'm wondering how this is going to play with Donald Trump. I'm not certain if Donald Trump's going to take if he's going to take if he's going to take full credit for him to be the Pope. You know what I mean? Because this is the first time, again, an American Pope is the Pope and is under Trump's administration. He's the 267th Pope, so that means 266 popes before him were not American. So again, I don't know if Trump is going to use that and say, under my ruling over here, we have an American Pope for the first time ever. And again, if he does that, I just think that's going to be a funny internet thing that's going to pass around because people are already thinking that now. But if he does that, I think that's just, again, funny for internet wise, but just off of the internet, I think that is just stupid and that's just tacky. And I think everybody would just see how far off our quote unquote president is if he takes credit for this new Pope. I really do think that. But again, I gotta also say this too. The thoughts and opinions that are spewed on here is of one person and one particular person alone. G2 Gerald Garrett. I'm not a Republican, not a Democrat. I am myself. I have no political allegiance to any political party at all. Just want to get that out there. So there's no political agenda on here. But again, I don't know how that's going to work. I do see, again, people making fun of it on Twitter because, again, anything that happens, they always say Trump takes credit for it. And I think this will be another one. But again, as of right now, at the time of me recording this, there has not been no news conference, no article, not even no type of little clip of Trump saying that he takes credit of the new Pope being elected or being the Pope because he's American and it's under Trump's administration. So again, none of that has happened. So it could never happen. But in the case it does, it'll just be foolish. So moving off of the new Pope, but again, congratulations to him, on to something that I find questionable. The Associated Press will write up an article about the military moving up to 1,000 transgender troops out of the military in a new Pentagon order. The article would read, the Pentagon will immediately begin moving as many as 1,000 openly identifying transgender service members out of the military and give others 30 days to self-identify under a new directive issued Thursday. Tuesday's Supreme Court decision allowed the Trump administration to enforce a ban on transgender individuals in the military. The Defense Department will begin going through medical records to identify others who haven't come forward. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who issued the latest memo, made his views clear after the court's decision. No more trans, Hegseth wrote in a post on X earlier in the day before the court acted. Hegseth said that his department is leaving wokeness and weakness behind. No more pronouns, he told his special operations, forces conference in Tampa. No more dues and dresses. We're done with that S. Department officials have said it's difficult to determine exactly how many transgender service members there are, but medical records will show those who have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, who show symptoms or are being treated. Those troops would then be involuntary forced out of the service, and no one with that diagnosis will be allowed to enlist. Gender dysphoria occurs when a person's biological sex does not match up with their gender identity. Okay, here's my thoughts on this. Why do you care what someone's gender is in the military? If they're transgender, all that. Here's my thing. They're serving the country, you doof. I want to say this again. They are serving the country, you doof. There's plenty of people out here right now on American soil who identify as Americans, who love America, but will not enter the service. You want to know why? Because they do not have the heart and fortitude to do so. And they don't want to. Just make it plain and simple. They love America, cool, but they're not going to enlist themselves. You got parents that love America, but they're not going to allow their kids to enlist because they know what type of trauma the military and all the other service branches come with when you do serve this country. There's been more trauma stories than there are of people coming out being on the actual good foot of leaving the service. You know what I mean? Why do you care what someone's gender is? As long as they're serving the country and doing this willingly and freely willingly, might I add, why do you care? It's all about protecting the people over here on this land. Now, I understand if you get a whiff of them being a traitor or something like that, that is against America in that fashion, like, yo, they're going to turn on us. We need to kind of nix them out of here. I understand in that fashion. But if you're just going after someone because of their gender, but they're full-fledged willing and they're able and they're in service right now, why are you trying to move them out? Why? It makes no sense. You're just taking away from the service instead of adding people to the service. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't. I don't understand it. I don't like it. Because again, you're just weakening us. And somehow, some way, again, I gotta say this, for some reason, it seems like this administration is constantly weakening things as time goes on. And we haven't even hit a year yet of this administration being in office. They just got in office in January, like late January. And we're already almost in the middle of May, already that quick. We're almost already there. And you mean to tell me right now we're still weakening things? It makes no sense. You want to strengthen things. You want to make or give more people the opportunity to enter the military, enter the other branches of service. You don't want to take away. So why are you trying to take away people out that are actively in there because of their gender or their desired gender that they want to be? It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't for me personally. Again, I'm on the side of if they're there, they're doing the job, and they are trans, it doesn't matter. As long as they're doing the job, as long as they're there, they're serving, why does it matter? I don't think they can give a legitimate answer to that. Because if you talk to all the service members, they would say probably that, yo, they're serving. Why are you having a problem with this? It makes no sense for you to take away. You need to add. Because again, with as much people as our current administration is pissing off, and there's always threats looming of things coming down the pipeline, because again, the current administration, not the greatest people pleaser out there, you know what I mean? There could be some difficulties down the line. Again, I don't want nothing to happen to us, but just in case, there might be certain things coming down the line. We need to have people ready and willing to defend. And you're trying to take away. Again, it doesn't make sense. You need to add, not take away from people in the military, people in the service. You know what I mean? But again, hopefully someone in court strikes this down, kind of goes against this thing. I understand, once again, the Supreme Court allowed this. I'm hoping that someone can kind of challenge the Supreme Court on this. That's what I'm hoping. So I'm not certain if someone can, but I'm hoping that this will be a new president, that someone can challenge the Supreme Court on that and actually get a understanding of why they are allowing this. But again, I just don't like this. I don't like it. You need to add, not subtract. That's all I'm gonna say for this, buddy. I hope that they fix this. That's what I'm hoping for. Continuing on with other judgments that I'm not too fond of. NBC News will write up about Memphis police officers found not guilty on all state charges in the Tyre Nichols beating death. The article would read, Wednesday, a Tennessee jury cleared 3 former Memphis police officers of all state charges stemming from the fatal beating of a black motorist that sparked protests across the country. 2 years ago. To Darius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith were found not guilty of second-degree murder, among other charges, in the death of Tyre Nichols. Shelby County Criminal Court Judge James Jones Jr. ordered the men released immediately, though the defendants are still on the hook for federal convictions connected to the beating death. The 3 officers cleared on Wednesday, and one-time colleagues Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmett Martin are set to be sentenced in federal court during the week of June 16th. Despite considerable legal consequences still ahead of them, all 3 men were overcome with emotion on Wednesday as they hugged one another and their lawyers in the Memphis courtroom. Each of the 3 defendants faced a count of second-degree murder, a count of aggravated assault, 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping, 2 counts of official misconduct, and a count of official oppression they were all acquitted of. The district attorney, Steve Mulroy, told reporters outside the courtroom that he and his team are obviously disappointed by the verdict. We respect the jury's decision, but we obviously strongly disagree with it. We, in good faith, brought this case, and I am convinced to this day that we had compelling evidence that showed that there was proof for every element of every one of the offenses that we charged. The jury took a different view. That is, of course, their right. That's part of the decision. Was I surprised that there wasn't a single guilty verdict on any of the counts or any of the lesser included offenses, given the overwhelming evidence that I think we presented? Yes, I was surprised. Do I have an explanation for it? No. So the 3 guys, they beat the state. They beat state charges. That's kind of nuts to me, man. That's kind of nuts. For people that are unaware of this, you guys, this was a man, Tyre Nichols, who he left out of his vehicle. He ran away from the police. The police caught up to him, and then they start beating on him. Now, there's video of this. I don't have to say much about it because I did talk about this when this first incident happened, and I was waiting just like everyone else to see the videos, and I saw all different angles of it when they actually released it, and I even did a whole head count of how many times he got punched, how many times he got kicked, how many times they hit him with weapons. I did the counting of it on a past episode when this thing first happened, and I was sickened to my stomach, and I even believe I said then, like, yo, when this thing goes to court, I have a hard time finding these guys being, like, not guilty. Because you see everything. Everything is there for you to see of these officers just beating on Tyre Nichols for nothing. Because he ran away from police. He ran after, I believe, like, there was an accident. An automobile accident. I believe. That's why he ran. But the biggest thing to come out of this was that he ran from the cops, caught him, and then you start wailing on him. That is the most sickening thing, and there's video of this. And I don't understand how they were able to get away. I really don't understand how the state found, more or less the jury found, that they are not guilty of none of this. It just doesn't compute to my head. It doesn't at all. Just to further clarify you right here, because I got another article from The Guardian to further explain something to you. Nichols, a 29-year-old man, black man, fled on January 2023 traffic stop after he was yanked out of his car, pepper sprayed, and hit with a stun gun. 5 officers who are also black caught up with him and punched, kicked, and hit Nichols with a police baton, struggling to handcuff him after he called out for his bomb near his home. So again, that's what happened on video. And again, that's just nasty work when you think about all of that. And if you happen to see the video, I would say don't, because it's nasty. It's disgusting. It's quite vile how all this came about. But again, these 3 officers, they beat the state, okay, but they still have federal convictions they are still on the hook for, and they will find out their fate on June 16th, which I'm certain that will be national news as well as this was, because again, I think everyone thought, because we saw this on camera, just like my guy that happened, Derek Chauvin, who put his knee on George Floyd's neck. You saw that on camera. You would think, like, okay, the officer is obviously going to go down for this. Like, there's no way in the world that we're just going to be like, oh, okay, he gets to walk away because, well, he's an officer. He was just doing his job. Like, no, dude, there's a way to do your job. There's a way to really handle your job properly. And I feel that these officers did a real, extremely piss poor job of handling this situation. I understand they say you're never supposed to run away from officers and all that, but come on, dude. It's kind of the thing. If officers are chasing after you and either you've done something wrong or whatever the case may be, or just in the case of this, I'm not going to say in the case of this, but if you're just black, because let's be honest, black people, as myself, we don't like officers, and it's kind of been ingrained in us to run. Yes, there's always going to be certain people out of the pack that won't run, but if you were to do a poll, let's be honest, I'll say about a good 9 out of 10 will be running away from officers, because even if you did nothing, you still have that ingrained in you that officers are always out to get you. There's something with officers, all of that. Shoot, there's been mad videos of black people recording themselves driving in a police officer car, just literally just riding on their back, and they talk to the camera talking about how they fear about an officer just tailing them, even though they're doing absolutely nothing. Like I said, it's been ingrained in us to run. And again, this type of situation, again, the George Floyd one, this one right here, it doesn't make it any better when we see what happens when an officer has you. And again, it's just nasty business. And again, June 16th, that's whenever all the officers involved in this Tyre Nichols situation will find out their fate for federal charges. And again, I'm hoping that they spend a good amount of time in prison. That's what I'm hoping for. So we will find out June 16th. And speaking of court cases, the Menendez brothers, their resentencing hearing will be next week. ABC News will write up about it. They say Eric and Lyle Menendez cases will return to court on May 13th and 14th. New details about the brothers' alleged behavior behind bars were revealed in court. A hearing was held Friday to determine whether the brothers' resentencing case should include information from the California Board of the Parole newly completed risk assessment, which was conducted as part of a separate clemency path. The risk assessments came at the request of Governor Gavin Newsom as part of the brothers' clemency bid. The brothers are pursuing multiple avenues to freedom, and the clemency path is separate from the resentencing path. So we're going to have to wait and see about them as well. Again, since that Netflix television show came out about them, I mean, everybody's been really invested in the Menendez brothers and whether they were touched or not by their father and all that type of things, and all the other new evidence, so to say, that's coming out about this situation, and all the public discourse about how they want the Menendez brothers to be free. We will wait and see what happens, what's going to happen to them next week, or shall I say this week upcoming, since this episode's on a Sunday. When the information comes out, I more than likely will bring it back to you guys on this broadcasting show and talk about it and discuss about it. I believe that's everything out of court. Oh, by the way, I gotta say this because again, I did mention this. Diddy, Puff, I'm pretty sure everyone should know about it. Monday, we were supposed to start the trial, but I'm believing that the trial has kind of been postponed a little bit because they're still trying to get the jury right. So they haven't came up with the right jurors yet for Puff's trial. So they're kind of going to push that back a little bit, and they'll still be picking people on Monday. Hopefully they have the jury set by Monday, if not Monday, before this week is over with, so this trial can actually get underway, because I just want a lot of trials to really just start, to be honest with you. I want trials to start. I want a lot of things to get underway, because Puff's trial should already be happening this week, because by God, what? It came out last year that he got arrested by the feds. And if you guys already looked through his home and you guys been looking through his stuff, I would think you guys at least should have I'm not going to say you have a lot of evidence, because Puff is such a mogul, and he was a mogul for a long period of time, that you guys will have to go through years and years of stuff. But I'm thinking that since he got picked up by the feds, I think that you guys should have enough to at least get him for some of the charges. And if you guys want to tack on more things, you guys will be able to do that later down the line. But yeah, man, for whatever you guys do have, let's get this ball on the roll and let's start getting things done. Because, man, I just want some of these trials to go instead of them linger for years on. That's what I am hoping for. So again, post trial not starting Monday as it was supposed to. They're still going to be picking people. But again, when the trial does start, I will come back on here and more than likely talk about the end result of the trial, unless something big and explosive did happen as the trial was going about. Now, I believe that's all the trial and court news I do want to discuss. Is there anything else that I do want to talk about as I get off court news? I'm just going to go to TV news and media news real quickly. There's a trailer that came out. It's called The Long Walk, and it's from the book by Stephen King. I never read that book. Matter of fact, I never knew this book even existed, but just seeing this trailer was nutty to me. The premise is 100, I want to say, teenage boys have to do a walk, and it's a long walk. You have to constantly walk. And if you stop walking, basically you're going to die. You're going to be tailed every moment. You have to continue to walk. And the last person that's walking, I believe they say you win $100,000. I believe that's the premise of this thing. So again, for me, when I saw this trailer, I was like, yo, this is really different. Mark Hamill, it looks like he is the bad guy in this. Mark Hamill, if you know him, he was the voice of the Joker for the animated series of Batman. And more famously, he's known for being Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars franchises. But he is just off of this. He looks like he's the villain of this freaking movie. And I gotta say, dude, again, this is real trippy. And I can't wait for this thing to come out, man. Again, this thing is real weird, but for it to be real weird like this, it came off nice on the trailer. I want to see how this thing kind of goes off and ends. So again, I can't wait for this thing to come out. It's supposed to come out, they say September the 12th, 2025. So I can't wait to see. They finally released a trailer for GTA 6 and they pushed it back for another year. The trailer showed the graphics on it, and I talked to my brother about this. I said the graphics kind of look like cyberpunk graphics, which with the graphics that they have right now, you can kind of release the game right now and everybody will be happy. But I think they're waiting for some stuff within the market to be stabilized to see how the financial environment is, and ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, people that are going to be buying the Grand Theft Auto game, you're going to be paying $100 for that game. Period, point blank. I think base model, you're going to be paying $100 because they're going to really warp it into your head that you want this game, you waited this long, you're going to be shilling out $100 for that game. Base model. Not the model that has all the DLC in it. No, base model is going to be $100. And, again, people are going to cry about it. People are going to complain about it, but people are going to buy it because people can't wait. And I believe when I talked to my brother as well, people have been waiting for that game for over a decade now. because the last GTA that came out was GTA 5, and I believe that's the first game that has spanned 3 separate consoles, because it came out for the PS3, then they expanded it to the PS4, then they expanded farther to the PS5, and now they finally are giving people what they want after a decade so wait for Grand Theft Auto 6. Again, the graphics look great. They can easily drop it now, but I think they want to wait until the economy and see how the economy's doing for next year, how that's being in play. And again, next year, you're going to be shielding out $100, again, for the base model, not the DLC model, not all that, but for the base game alone, $100 you're going to be shielding out. Mark my words for that. I saw Sinners. Sinners was a good movie. I feel that the hype for it was a lot, and that's on, not going to say that's on me, but that's on what I saw for a lot of people. The movie, I feel, was real deep, and I deep dive on some of the stuff. Some of the stuff, I'm like, okay, cool, I understand it. Some of the stuff I don't understand. But hey, to each his own. For some people didn't like it. Some people did like it. Me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I think it's a nice little kickback movie to watch if you're in the movie theaters. If you haven't seen Sinners yet, I would say go see it. Michael B. Jordan, he did good playing the character Smoking Stack. Again, you got to see Michael B. Jordan play a loose, witty, slick talking guy with Stack, and with Smoke being real serious and just being real matter of fact of things. I did like that, and I did find myself really looking at Smoke, and in my family dynamic, I'm really more the Smoke in my family, because as I said, Smoke's real matter of fact. This is what we're going to do, all that type of stuff. And to a point, certain people might not like that, because you saw Smoke get challenged a couple times in the movie, and again, obviously, he still ended up doing what he had to do. Again, I sided with that a lot more, because again, I see myself in that with my family condition, with my family situation with that. But yeah, I enjoy the movie, and I'm gonna say this right now. I haven't watched a lot of vampire movies. I've seen some, but the whole, hey, can I come in business deal? I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the first time I've ever learned about that with the whole vampire stuff. For them to really attack you and all that type of stuff, to really for them to do whatever you want. If you're in your own home, you have to invite them in. That was something brand new to me. Because again, I was just thought, why don't they just come in? But seeing how they had to be invited in, and that's basically the whole premise. Again, I don't think it's a spoiler because it's in the trailers. So again, they got to be invited in before they can do their whole wreaking of havoc. I did like that little touch to it, and for how they finally get in. Again, I like that as well. But again, if you haven't seen Sinners, go watch it. It's a fun movie again to see, and it's not really gory as people would say. It's not. I would put it in a thriller base. Does it have blood? Yes, but it's not like the blood from the Scream movies or anything like that. I'll say it's blood from like a Quentin Tarantino type film. You know what I mean? How he uses blood, like it comes out like that. That's the type of blood splatter and faucet type of matter that comes out for Sinners. So again, it's not horror movie-esque blood. It's more Quentin Tarantino blood. But again, Sinners, good movie. Go and watch it. I think you will enjoy yourself. Now that's everything in movies and television that I do want to bring up. And before I get you guys out of here, I do have to give an update on something that I briefly touched on earlier in today's episode. I talked about briefly the situation that was going on between India and Pakistan. Well, there's been an update at the time of this recording. The president, Donald Trump, has said that Pakistan and India have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire after 4 days of strikes and counterstrikes against each other. Pakistan's foreign minister also said both countries have agreed to a ceasefire with immediate effect. After a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I am pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. So I'm glad that this has come to bed quickly. Again, I want to give my condolences to the people that lost families, homes, and businesses on both countries. I do want to get that out first and foremost. I'm glad that they were able to stop it before it really got out of hand, because with war, people can get real stupid, and again, people do lose more lives, and places do get more destructive after a long period of time of war. So again, I am glad that they were able to have a complete ceasefire, and it was immediate, so I'm good for that. So I'm happy that both India and Pakistan have come to that. So that's the update that I do want to bring on to everyone at this time. So I think with all that being said, I think that's everything that I have on the docket. So it is time for me to get you guys out of here. I would like to thank all the listeners for listening to the podcast, whether it be today's podcast, my Wednesday podcast, or my wrestling episodes podcasts. I do appreciate everyone for listening to those episodes, because it's still just weird to me how I'm still one guy that's not really active that much on the internet, but I put out the episodes, I see where the downloads are coming from, and some of them are in the States, some of them's out of the States, and it's international downloads. I really do appreciate that. It allows me to keep going, and it tells me, hey, you're doing something, and people are listening, so continue doing what you're doing. So I appreciate everyone that downloads the episodes, and I also do appreciate the companies that have me on here, whether it be Apple, Podbean, Spotify, although the podcasting sites that you're listening to this podcast on, because without those companies, I wouldn't be able to get this podcast out to you, because at any switch, I don't care what no one says, they can easily shut you off, and you are literally shadow banned, you're literally blacklisted, and you can't be on people's feeds. So I do appreciate all the companies that are showing me to you guys. So with that said, once again, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
that is not a gimmick. That is me being 100% honest with you. I do love every single one of you. I want everyone to have a great and lovely week. Please, once again, do not stress out over things you cannot control. Only take care of things you actually can control, that's in your hands. And again, happy Mother's Days to all the mothers out there, and also to the women that took in children that became yours. I again want to give that notion and notice to every woman out there as well. Once again, have a great day, everyone. If you didn't, also, by the way, just want to give this heads up. By the time this episode is out, there should be a WWE Backlash Premium Live Event review up as well. If you didn't happen to see the Premium Live Event pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, last night, that episode is available to you now. You can go and listen to it. Or if you just want to watch the show, you can go on Peacock, and this is not an ad, and watch it right there for you. The schedule for this week is, as usual, Wednesday will be your midweek breakdown episode. Thursday will be another episode of Let's Have a Chat series. Saturday will be another episode of the Wrestling Highlights of the Week. And Sunday, I'll be back again on another episode of the My 2 Cents podcast, where I talk about everything in the world of the news and break some of the big news topics that happened within that week. So with that stated, this has been your My 2 Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. He is I and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from this sweet and lovely voice again. And again, I want everyone to have a lovely, blessed week. So with all that said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.